Hey everybody, this is Jason. Welcome back for another draft at the Draft Factory. Unfortunately, when I recorded this video the first time, I had some technical issues and the audio didn't record, so this commentary is all post-draft recording. It'll just be a quick play-by-play with a little elaboration on a couple of the more interesting decisions. This week's deck is actually an interesting little white-green deck that sits sort of halfway between aggro and delirium. My opening hand is one more land than I like, but otherwise it's pretty strong. Getting to curve one drop into two drop, then holding up a combat trick is pretty decent. We start out here just running out our respective one drops. My opponent's two drop is a lot more defensive than mine, but Manic Scribe doesn't really match up well against Descend Upon the Sinful in my hand. He continues to play like a control deck over the next few turns, freezing out my creatures, killing them with removal, and following up with more big butt creatures to discourage me from attacking. Since my opponent has Vessel of Nascency on the field, I decide to hold my removal and give him the time he needs to activate Delirium and start milling me. It'll help me hit Delirium too, and once that's online, I can give him another turn to empty his hand before slamming Descend to wipe the board clean with the big ol' angel for my effort. Now that I've 4-for-1'd him with Descend Upon the Sinful, I can just use the removal in my hand to keep the game locked down while my angel beats down in the air. Bound by Moonsilver guarantees my opponent's best blocker is always locked down, and I managed to close the game pretty quickly after this. After a bit of deliberation, I decided to bring in the Epitaph Golem in case my opponent has any more mill cards I need to worry about. I decided to cut the Apothecary Geist as the lowest impact card around the same mana cost so I don't screw my curve too much. My opening hand for the second game isn't amazing, but I'm pretty happy with the 2-drop and having my sideboard card in hand. My opponent's on the play, but his start is really slow, which lets me get out to an early lead on the board with a couple of Timber Shredders. He tries to wall up with the blocker on turn 4, but I already have Bound by Moonsilver in my hand to lock it down and clear a path to his face. He slows me down a little over the next couple turns with removal and a Stitched Mangler, and I come to this point where I have to decide whether to flip my Logger and hold up Silver Strike for his flyer, or just run out my Golem and build my board. Since I still have 12 life, I decide I'd rather build my board and take another hit than just hold up Silver Strike on his next turn, when I can bait my opponent into blowing a combat trick when I block his flyer with my Reaper. My opponent plays a 3-drop and makes a careful attack on his next turn, leaving up just enough mana for a mana trick. This isn't the first time he's done this, so I'm pretty sure he has something in his hand that he wants to blow me out with. Since he's not pressuring me too hard, I swing with my ground creatures and force him to blow his trick just to make favorable trades. This also lets me hold back my Reaper for the Silver Strike plan I decided on the turn before. Sure enough, he plays out the aim high in an attempt to eat my 3/5, but with the Strength of Arms in my hand, I'm able to reverse it on him and even get a 1/1 token for extra value since I have equipment in play. As last-ditch effort to steal the game from me, he runs out Slayer's Plate and equips it, hoping to race me to the finish. Silver Strike stops him cold, of course, and I get a completely open board to swing into. I play my last creature pre-combat in case Shard of Broken Glass turns on Delirium during my attack. Since it does, I sack the Scavenger and close out the game immediately, denying my opponent one last draw step. Sorry for the audio issues, guys. The next two videos will have the regular audio, so don't worry about it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed round 1, and see you back for round 2.